Okay, so let me just turn on the camera. I see that the recording is there, right? So it's recorded. So hi everyone, this is Valeria, your PRM, Public Relations Manager for District 108, and together with Elżbieta, or Ela. Ela, can you show yourself? We have organized this very hot, I would say, webinar because autumn is the right timing for conducting speech contests. We are now up to humorous and table topics, and here, even based not in District 108 geographically, I do receive lots of questions from people, from my fellow clubs who do not know how to organize an ideal speech contest. So I think this webinar would be a great opportunity for us to know the tricks and tips and secrets and failures not to perform them during the contests. So let me first introduce our participants and explain, hey Rafal, nice, and explain you the rules, how we're going to conduct this webinar in the nearest 1 or maybe 1.5 hours. First of all, let's discuss the rules of conduct, and the rules are the following. If a person is talking, and we'll be talking one by one, not in parallel, not simultaneously, please do mute the microphones, because otherwise we hear huge echo, like ooh, 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 all the time, and it's not good. As soon as you want to talk, you can, if you are an expert, you can just switch on the microphone and start talking if you know the answer to the question, or if you have a question, please do raise a hand. There is a special option here in Zoom where you can say, raise a hand and say, hey, I want to ask something. And then you unmute and then ask something. We also have a chat. And at that chat, it's alive. And you can ask your questions there if you haven't asked them before in the online Google form that we have distributed a couple of days ago. So if you have any questions that arise during this webinar, please feel free to ask them, because we are here to answer all of them. Well, please do ask questions related to contests. That would be quite smart. Okay, now I would like to introduce our speakers and experts to you, because we have 6 of them here, and I'm not counting myself since I'm just a moderator or a facilitator. So let me first introduce Elżbieta Ela Filutowicz. That's our Area A5 Director, who is the main organizer and I would say the initiator of this webinar. So welcome, Elżbieta, and she will also moderate this webinar. We also have Division A Director, I would say a walking speech contest rulebook. He knows, I think, everything about speech contest. And let's welcome Rafał Staszewski. Rafał, you're here. Good. And then we also have Federico Navarrete. That's Area A5 Director last term. I'm not sure that I know the current position of Federico, but I definitely know that he has huge experience in organizing and holding contests. We also have Bogdan Aldea, who is the current president of the Leadership Club for the 2nd time, if I'm not mistaken, that is located in Lodz in Poland, and he acted as a chief judge at Division Conference. It's not even a club, not even an area, but it's a Division Conference, which is much more responsibility. And we also have Alexandra Yatsukowicz, right? She is the immediate past president, and she's very experienced in contest chairing. So that's another part of organizing a contest. And we also have Monica Milton. She's the president of the Speakers of Lodz, and based on the information I have, it's really hard to count how many Toastmasters leadership roles she has taken before. So hopefully she will share with us all her knowledge and experience. So if we do not have any questions about the rules or any procedures, I would then pass the floor to Elżbieta, or Ela. She's on vacation now. However, She's a true Toastmaster is always a Toastmaster. So I would pass the floor to Elżbieta, and she would introduce the main speakers and the main parts of today's webinar. And please, once again, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. Elżbieta, it's up to you.
Hello, hi everybody. I'm really happy that you joined. As you can see, I have a bit strange background and also the light because actually I'm on the parking and we are in Wrocław, so still we didn't reach the destination. However, as we are always saying, that if you're a Toastmaster, you have any activity, you are just take it right away and adapting the circumstances just to fulfill the task. I'm very happy that almost all of us, of our experts joined. I only got information from Ola, from Alexandra in last moment that she will be not able to join, but I'm very happy, Monica, and also of course Gabriela and Federico, Bogdan, that you joined. Thank you, Valeria, for organizing also from the part of the really great vision as a PR specialist. You are really great, doing great job. We were thinking about the agenda and we were focusing on the 3 main points because I think these are the crucial one. Just to start the discussion, it would be really great that you could answer the questions, but also share your experiences in every of those 3 fields. The first of them is just a good, or also as we are saying in the district, to start strong. So how to start strong, what to start with, and I'm saying from the perspective of the person who is already experienced, but also from the people who are starting their road with organizing contests, because I guess there are people with different experiences with us and people with different experiences will be also watching this video. Another point is just to talk about the rules. So the crucial rules that are important about the contest, not only to play fair, but also to organize it, that it will be counted, that it will be according to Toastmasters rule as it's supposed to be. And the third point is tips and tricks. So any very important tips that you can give us, so that you could share, it will be really great to hear it from the perspective of your experience. I'm sure you can give some main points to focus on. After every part, every point will have the part for questions and answer. So you can still write on chat or just raise your hand, as Valeria was saying, just to ask or to say something. And definitely I recommend to mute your microphone if you're not speaking, because then you will not have this echo that we had at the beginning. So really great and really excited to hear all this great knowledge and experience that you already have. Thank you.
So that would be me again. That's Valeria. And we have the list of questions and we have very experienced people. And I would probably ask Staszek to start with and share with us his, Staszek, can we see your face? Yes. Share with us your experience and your best practices and how to start strong, as Ela has just mentioned. What are the first steps that club officers should make preparing a really good, really valuable, really precious speech contest, no matter table topics or humorous? What to start with? What other tricks?
Tricks. First of all, I want to say that every contest is different about the club level, area level, division level, etc., and higher, because it have different energy. I think the hardest one to organize is the area one, but I will start as you want from the club level. First of all, it's very important to talk about the contest for a long period of time and make it in some way unusual, especially for people who are already some time in Toastmaster. I'm for more than 5 years. At every time when it's something different than normal, it means that it's more attractive. And for example, recently in my club, we have very special awards. And for example, the person who win the contest for humor speeches received a knife because he was the sharpest one. And the person who had third place received key painkillers to not feel pain because he was just third. And these small tricks make that it is much more meaningful, and people who receive something feel much better than just because they receive another medal. I have like 30 medals and they are just in the box. But when I receive a trophy of golden pretzel, I have it on my shelf because it's different. So always when you organize a contest, think also how it can be different. What is also great about making something different than usual is that for you it's also more fun than just having a normal contest. So that's one thing. Because we are currently in table topics, I want to share a very important stuff about table topics. Because I heard a lot of long, complicated questions. And second point, which put strong effort on something, and it should be not like that. It should be simple, but not give a lot of hints what to do.
Because can you give an example of a good question?
Yeah, and exactly one of my favorite questions was courage, and that's all. So brave, yeah, and it mean anything, but not everything. And then the speaker have the freedom show the great speaker, because then you need to realize very quickly a lot of things. And when you give very specific one, it will be more the same. And also, so when I organized the Polish Championship, I said perfect imperfection as a topic, and it was super hard for speakers. And it also showed the great speakers from very good when they have this very creative, but not giving a lot question. To organize very good contests, if it's possible. I know also my experience from Warsaw, which is far different for all other Toastmasters, to get as many people outside, especially for judges, because then the people have concentrate more about the performance, not what they feel, how they like the speaker outside of the scene, which is very helpful about judging the person. I know that especially in Division D, it could be very hard to do it. So if you can, it would be great to have. And now I have idea if it's possible to have like online judges. It would be interesting.
That definitely could be interesting. I've just remembered one question that I really loved a lot at one of our clubs, I would say area contests. The question was the quotation from Forrest Gump movie. And the question was, life is a box of chocolate. You never know which one you get. So it's not even a question, it's a statement. And then you have to develop and somehow work on it. So probably it shouldn't be even a question with a question mark at the end, but should be something that like, you know, with like, think about it. Think on how you would end this phrase. Bogdan, maybe you can share what are the strongest starts, how to find the probably best chairs, best chief judges. What is your trick? What is your strategy?
Hello, everyone. And I would say that planning ahead, sorry, maybe it was, I think, already mentioned that to think in advance and try to lock the key roles way ahead, so people can start preparing for their roles, and making some backups. Yes, think all the time what if something is going wrong, what do you do? So when you have a backup and you're prepared, then you will know that the first part, which hopefully will not require to access the backup, but the first one is much more prepared, and because you think it more, you analyze it from different points of view. And another thing I would say, to challenge yourself with other people. So even if I was a chief judge, and the chief judge shouldn't should be the only one which knows all the judges and keep it secret, but that doesn't stop you from having a team or somebody else with you to be able to ask a question, to discuss. So don't keep it only for yourself. And because no matter how how advanced you are, it's always there's somebody else will have an idea which you don't have. So if you check yourself with somebody else, that is, I would say that that is as strong as you can be. Is that answering the question?
Pretty much so. Can you share any situation where you definitely needed a backup? Because sometimes you plan backups and you just don't need them, but sometimes they really step up. So how often does this happen in your experience?
I'm a software developer, so I think I live by backup. So that's the first thing which you have to do. And but related to Toastmaster, I think you can never have enough judges, and to have a backup of judges, because always something can happen and you never know. And also, if you are not in the club level, if you're starting from area level and upwards, you wanted to have it equal, so to give chances to everyone, as Rafa said, because you don't want to have the personal preferences to play a role in how is the judge performing. So you wanted to have a variety of people and keep the balance. So for example, if you take 2 judges from one club, then you have to take 2 judges from all the clubs. And then if you have one judge which is the day before is saying that it can't, what do you do? And actually I had this situation in my contest in division, and I had a backup. I had a judge from outside division, and I could use that one no matter who would cancel in the last moment.
So better have more judges, like 8 or
Yes,
10,
yes,
as many as this is possible.
Yeah, and actually from I tried to have 2 judges from each club, but actually I the aim was to have 3 judges from each club, but actually use only 2.
Yeah, I fully agree that having more judges than you need is a crucial one, but something which can help you in case that in the last moment there will be not enough judge. I remember area contest when I had 7 judges, and in the day of the contest, 3 of them said that they won't be there. You can ask participants from another contest, like table topic, to be the judge on a humorous speech, and the humorous one to be a judge on table topic. It's like last case scenario, but if it happened that you will not have enough judges, it's probably the best thing that you can do. And the other thing, if you are a chief judge, theoretically you also could be, for example, voting judge, or I prefer tie-breaking judge. And then it can help if you will not have enough people to make the contest.
Can I just add something? Sorry, there is the hand. I actually had these backups. So for example, I kept myself, but that was kind of as a backup of a backup, because if you need it, you will be there. But I would prefer for me to pay attention on other people to make sure that everything else is going according to the plan. And that means maybe I would be a bit more stressed in some moments, and that means I will not provide the same equal chances to, or have full attention to all the contestants. So that means unwillingly I might be not do the best job. So that's why I would prefer that to be just the last resource, as you said.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Federico, do you have anything to share or add? How do you start preparing your contests?
I will say that there are two things that to take into consideration. The first one is when you're organizing the club contest, you can try to speak with, if there is on it another club in your area, to exchange the judges. This is not exactly an easy task, or not maybe the better one, but you will have a fairer contest. Why? Because in some scenarios, there could be some rivalries or some people don't match so much. But in this way, if someone is coming from a different club, that is done. The second thing, you can ask always who doesn't want to take part in the contest. We are not in India where everybody takes part. I am pretty sure that even in Russia, not half of the membership tries to do it. So my belief is simple. Ask in advance. I'm 100% sure that you will find more than one person that say, no, I hate cameras. I don't like that people watch me. So these people can be your first people that you can ask, can you become a judge? Can you become someone who takes part? And I'm sure this will relieve a lot of stress in your life.
That's great. What are the tricks how you find the contest chair? Let's speak about this role, which is really, really important.
I start with the same thing. First, identify who doesn't want to take part in the contest. Because in this scenario, you're already limited. Okay, I know that there are like 5 people from each club that they don't want to take part. When you identify these potential people, you as a member, or if you're not a member, you're from another club, let's say in the area contest, you can ask for the president, what do you think about these people that they told me that they are not taking part? Which of them do you think could be a very good candidate? Let's take into consideration another factor. In some cases, you might need 2. Why? Because what happens if you have multiple languages? This is something very common, especially in Poland. I'm pretty sure in Russia that you have one in Russian, one in English, and sometimes there was even in German in the District 95 in the past. So what you can do is split the work. Don't put all pressure on one person. Sometimes it works if you can find a person who wants to stay the 4 hours or 3 hours or as long as it can. But if you can split it and have 2 people who can, let's say, be part-time for the humorous speech contest or the international speech contest and part-time for the next one, you are making the things easier, since as in everything, if you split, you're able to do more. But if you're trying to put everything on one hat, it can be harder. You can always think what Bogdan said, to have the backup of the backup. And I agree with him. I'm a software developer too, so we have the backups of the backup all the time. But as I said, the first thing, find who doesn't want to take part. There is always a person who hates contests, who doesn't like contests, or that they don't encourage them. Even if you try, even if you give them $100 million, they will say still no. There is always something like that for any reason. Don't judge them, just ask them.
That's interesting. Gerardo, do you want to ask anything?
Yes, this is Gerardo Garcia. Hello, everyone. And well, from my side, I actually would ask, what do you think, guys? In this case, don't you think that pathways has been reduced the encouragement for participation or to take these roles in the contest? Because in the previous program, it was mandatory that if you would like to complete leader CL or advanced leader bronze, you need to take these roles. Pathways in this case is not encouraging to take these leadership roles. Maybe it's a perception wrong, but I wanted to ask that because I could see it in the last contest in clubs in area that it was struggling with that, especially to find specific roles.
That's a very good question. I also had the same one. Motivation and what credit do we get for taking this part? Guys, Monica, Federico, Bogdan, Staszek, any ideas how to motivate people to take up on these roles? Not that easy.
Well, let's say that one thing that you could try, and is something that Bogdan was a very good example during the club contest, is that he brought some flowers to our organizer. You need to appreciate the people. And many times it's like you make the things like an obligation. Even in the past when you were getting credits, and as I said, this is something that is one of the thousands of conversations that I have had in Toastmasters, that everything is about to get in a ribbon, to get in the next diploma, to get in this. And that's why I believe there are many challenges, because we're constantly focusing on getting something instead of trying to help each other. In some of other organizations that I have taken part, instead of getting thousands of ribbons, we focus on the part that is about giving something and remembering the people. If there are no people, there are no contests. But this is something that we need to create in a culture of the clubs, that we constantly help each other. But not only when we perform a speech, but we can organize a different event and make that a small reminder to the people that they are part of the club. That we can, for example, in one day, we can give them a small cake during a birthday. And these small things that you do can make a different change. I agree with what Gerardo said, that Pathways took that responsibility. And in certain way, I have mixed feelings. In one side, I agree with Gerardo. In another side, I disagree, because this is why I believe that the constant pursuing the DTM, pursuing this, pursuing that, we forget why we're in Toastmasters and we are helping each other.
Great. So that's a very good tip, to recognize not only the participants, but also the contest chair and contest judges in front of the audience, right? Did I get right, Federico?
Exactly, but not only the contest judges, the timer is a very important person, the sergeant at arms, everyone who took part. Even if there is a person who, let's say, was the backup of the backup of the backup from Bogdan or from anyone, those people should be recognized because you ask them for help. Of course, you will not give them the same things. You can give them even a small candy or a small sweet, anything, but it's a reminder of their work.
That's a good point. Monica, do you have any idea how do you motivate people in your club or area to act as chief judges or contest chairs?
Hello, I think we should make an example by ourselves. So if we as leaders are hardworking, I think people will see that and will do the same. It's my opinion. And I'm observing it and I think it works.
Yeah, what Gabriela says, which is absolutely fair. The secret judges cannot be recognized, but they can be recognized by the chief judge later, afterwards, when the contest is finished and no one can see them. Can that happen? Okay, any questions about the strong start of the contest? How to motivate, how to find the right people, or anyone just to hold the whole story?
Hello, this is Ela, and if I could add one question from my side also that I was thinking about, because it's really great pleasure to hear your perspective and sharing your experiences. I'm just wondering, what would you recommend for the people who they don't have experience in organizing contests, they would like to start, or they have even some barriers to start organizing and get involved because they say, okay, I'm not experienced, I would rather leave the field to the person they have already experienced. So what would you recommend to the person that is starting organizing the contests, how to start in a good and strong way?
Ela, who are you asking? Point
maybe I would ask a question to Monica because she's very experienced, and I guess you don't have too many occasions now to share your experiences.
In my opinion, first thing we should visit more experienced club if we are starting and putting our first steps. First to observe, and then we can talk with people more experienced. In Toastmasters, everybody is really helpful, so I think it's a good possibility to share our experience. So it's my tip for people who are starting. First visit, observe, and talk with people. I think it should work.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. And do you have any other tips, Rafał, Federico, or Bogdan?
Yeah, I would add something to this question. Sometimes it's really hard to find support because if the club is new and the officers are not very experienced and they have never been to other contests before, who do they address? Who is the main person to talk to and find the right answers? If they read the speech rule book, and we are reading the speech rule book every year, and still it's not 100% clear. So who is the right person to ask?
I think that for new club, there are two kinds of people that you should ask. One, you have a mentor, and you should try to get you as much from your mentors and from your sponsors as you can, because they should care about you. And the second, you have area director who also should help you. So it's important to know the structure. And I think the new club should receive a lot of support at the beginning. I remember when my club was launched and we was not very experienced, and we created the contest with help of area director who gave us a support at every level, helped organize the judges, etc. And it was very, very, very important for us. And I thought that for especially the division where you need to travel a lot, or even area where you need to travel a lot, maybe it would be good to organize, for example, a trip or visiting their city or for something like this, if you need to ask for judges from outside, to make them, they are willing to go there, not just for Toastmaster reason, but also give something additional for them.
Oh, good point. Get a mentor. Gabriela says, we have just launched this program. Well, that's a good thing. Good start for a new club. Let's go to the rules section. That's the second point that Ela has identified as an important part of the contest. And the big question is the rule book. It's how many pages? Like 40, 50 pages, and it changes every year, right after the convention. So shall we read this carefully from A to Z, or shall we just skip the parts that we know and focus on something that is new? And how strict is that to follow those rules? And if we don't, what happens? Are there any restrictions? Are there any punishments, or what? Guys, Bogdan?
Hello. I would say that maybe not to read it like strictly like the not to be like a Bible, but I would say that before a contest you should read it. Just have it, pass on it, just to, even if you are familiar, just so you remember some things, because even if you did a few contests in the past, and I'm not talking only about things which are changing, but there are cases which you didn't encounter the previous contest, and maybe you forgot about them. So it's good to have something to remember about it. And another thing is that I had a bit of a pressure because at the beginning, when before being the chief judge, Gabriela actually contacted me and said that we will have a meeting with all the chief judges, and then we'll have like a test. And I was like, oh, that is really serious. And I started reading, being really scared about it, and that really helped me because I got more familiar with it. But then I realized that it's good to have that book, and if later you'll get a question or you'll have a situation that you don't know how, you will remember that, oh, there was something about that thing in the book, so I can go and check it at the time when you have to answer. So it's not that you have to memorize it, everything, but it's good to have it so you can go to it. And if you are a bit familiar with it, then it's easier to find something when you need it. So for example, if you're in the contest and somebody's coming and asking you something, it's like, okay, I know this because I read it, or let me double check for you and I will give an answer. That is also showing that you respect the book and that you respect him and you don't want to lie him. And also something which I realized only when I was in the middle of the contest, it was that if you make some mistakes, the contest will be repeated, will have to be repeated, and you don't want it to take that responsibility, let's call it, but you don't want it to make a big mistake that actually will require another effort to do another contest. So if you take the pro and cons, just reading like 40 pages, how long it will take, but how much it will take to organize another contest again.
That's a very interesting point about repeating the contest. I've never heard about this before. But I still have one more thing to add and ask Staszek to share. Can you please tell us about the contest chair and chief judges accreditation, and how strict is that?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I will add just one thing to what Bogdan said, which is especially important for the contest Toastmaster contest chair, to repeat for every speaker the same environment. So try to make the same applause, say things in the same manner, not make jokes, don't add something to the speech, to make an environment really very similar to each other. Which I have one thing which I'm thinking a lot in humorous speeches. Maybe it would be good, and it's a manner of discussion, to warm up the public before the contest, because the first speaker then have like a cold audience and after they are more willing to laugh. So maybe there is a place to make some fun, but typically the contest chair should be as strict to the rules, as invisible as is possible. And for me, it's one of the most important things to remember. About the contest, the judges and etc. From the area level, remember that the judge should have at least 6 projects in CC or 2 levels of pathways. Plus, from area, we add the accreditation process, because for one of the goals for our district is to have very good contest and high quality. So we add accreditation of the chief judge and contest chair. So we just check by the accreditation how well they know the rulebook. And the accreditation is very specific. So you rather need to read the damn rulebook, or at least open, and you know how to check stuff there. But it's easier and better just to know the rulebook. And I think it's very important. And if you want to have it, just ask your area director, who can send the accreditation to you, and you can pass it for also your contest. And I think it's great for everybody to check how well they know the rulebook, especially because there are some common knowledge, like there is 1-2 minutes of silence after the end of the contest, and there is no 2 minutes of silence. There is as much time for the judges as it's needed. But like the common knowledge is that there are just 2 minutes, and also the accreditation helps to deal with this common knowledge. Should I ask something, Valeria?
No, Staszek. This accreditation, is it necessary for which levels? Club, area, division, district, or just?
Add it from area level, which should be created. You can skip it, but you should. At club level, it's your business that to have higher level of contest, you can do it.
Okay, now I have a tricky question to all the experts. I guess, yeah, I guess you all have witnessed lots of contests of different types. So if you encounter some mistakes, some rules violation made by, I don't know, most likely the contest chair or the chief judge, so it's visible to you, how do you react during the contest? Do you step up and say, no, the contest should be cancelled, or we just have to repeat it? Or what do you do? What do we do if we see something that is something wrong there? How do you deal with this?
A few times.
Federico, raising a hand? No?
Yes.
Tak,
Personally, what I will do, because what you are saying is something that happened a couple of years ago here in Łódź. So I'm not talking about theories, but based on a fact. The person that, when they happened, this situation that you mentioned, is that this person was very knowledgeable about everything connected to Toastmasters, and he raised a complaint to the club. So instead of allowing this situation, the best idea is to speak with the judges and repeat the contest. Because this person even raised a complaint to Toastmaster International, he sent an email to Toastmaster.org, and the answer from Toastmaster was, you need to repeat the contest, even that they didn't want to do it. As simple as that, because trust me, some people are more knowledgeable than us, and they read more carefully those things. So the best idea is, if you are aware of this, just speak with the judges. It might mean it's better to repeat it, and someone raised a complaint, and everything that you did is going to the garbage bin.
About those complaints, reading the rule book, only the voting judges can raise a protest, and protest is not similar to complaining, right? So it's different.
The difference is that this person identified that there was an unfair action. So this person went, instead of doing any mess during the contest, he went to Toastmaster.org. There is an email there where you can raise a complaint. He sent the email, and the answer from Toastmaster International is, the contest must be repeated.
Even when the winners are announced?
It was after the contest.
So because in rulebooks, it said that when the winner are announced, there are no protests that are eligible anymore. So this is not about that case, right? So you just have to tell them, guys, you have to repeat all thing from scratch.
As I said, that's what Toastmaster answer.
Okay. Staszek, Bogdan, Monica, Ela, did you have anything? Yeah, Bogdan?
This is the reason why I said that it's good to read the book, to be familiar, because then if you see something during the contest which you're not sure, you can go and double check the book and see if it is according to the rules or not. And actually I did a few times. I was just reading the book just to make sure that is according to the rule. Because if you have somebody which making a complaint, or even if it is official or not official, you can always say that, look, in the rule book, it is written like this. So we follow according to the books, even if you might think that is not fair. And another point is that I don't remember what was, there was a small thing which I was thinking that is not, it wasn't fair. I had the impression that some people might think that encourage or advantage one contestant, and without actually making visible to anybody, I discussed with the contest chair and make her aware of it and ask her to do the same thing for all of them, because you wanted to give equal chances. That's why you have the rule book. So if you have equal chances, even if you have something which is my thing that is not right, or something like this, but if all the contests all have the same conditions, then you can say, look, I did as much as possible to be fair, because sometimes we are humans and we do sometimes some mistakes. Some people are stressed. So if you show that you try to be as fair as possible with everyone, I don't think anybody will blame you for that.
Yeah, still, if I were a speaker and I didn't know that the rules were violated, and then a day after I won the first place, people come up to me and say, hey, you have to repeat. that would be quite demotivating. How do you deal with that? That's a question. You don't know how to deal with that, right? So just ask people to participate. Okay, I have a question from my friend from Moscow, and she's going to be a contest chair for table topics, and she has a question that is about the rule book, and she specifically asked me to transfer this question. She says that in the new rule book, there is no mentioning that for table topics participants, 30 seconds are given to think about it. So it's sad that they should start the moment they are introduced to the public. Is that true? Because before that, we allowed the table topic speaker participants to have up to 30 seconds to think on how they would start their discussion or their speech. So is this true that they just eliminated this 30 seconds lag or something? Do you have any knowledge about that, guys?
I don't remember that it was deleted, but I will just check it and then we'll be sure.
I would say that F6.
I haven't read about it. However, I have a small advice that every time that I have this kind of doubts, like what you do, is people know that I always send emails to Toastmaster International. For me, this is the best way when I have these questions, just raise it there. They have specific channels for contests, for elections, for everything that you can imagine. And they answer after maximum 48 hours. So if you have this doubt, just raise the email right now and they will give you an answer on Monday, more or less, because it's Friday. But for me, it's the best. I found answers about if you, for example, found a new club and the election season, and it's for 1 year the election, that you can be almost a president for almost 2 years, which is totally different of general rules and very strange questions. I have asked them and they always answer.
Good. Well, 48 hours. That's a good timeline. So, guys, when you are looking for people to not the participants, but the organizers, what are the main competences you're searching for? I mean, if you are, say, a president of the club and you need to point out a person who would take care of the contest, what are the primary things you're looking at? Like leadership roles? Is he active as a Toastmaster? Is he active as an evaluator? How do we determine these people? Like, what are we searching for? Bogdan, can you speak?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, it's taking time to organize a contest. It's taking time to take a role. It's taking some energy from you. And if you ask somebody to do that, you should try to think somebody which will benefit from it. So when you know people, especially in the club, but also in the area, you are kind of familiar with people. You know them. You meet them quite often. You might have an idea of people which might benefit from it, which their goal in Toastmaster is to, for example, to have a lot of events and they have to perform in front of the people, and just go and sell it that look, you'll have a benefit from it. Because and also at the beginning we said that how do you find somebody like this? And I have a trick. My last resource for this is ask people for a favor. If you go to some people and say that, can you do me a favor and take this role? It's less likely to say no. And I think we all have experience with Toastmasters, which we don't know, and we ask them questions and we got an answer. And especially if you know that person and you ask for, can you do me a favor? It will really help me to with this. And or if you go and say that I need you, and it's more likely that that person would say yes, or or will tell you why they are afraid, the reason why they're afraid, and then you can work with that reason. Yeah. So for example, I say that I don't have experience. Okay, we will find somebody else with experience which you can go and ask questions. Yeah. So if I, for example, participate in a contest and I need somebody to take a role, I will not be able to help that person, but I'll find somebody else to back it up.
Good point. So asking for a favor, telling a person that you need him or her, and offering some help or assistance if he is afraid, because sometimes when we ask people, they say, oh, I'm not sure I can handle this, I'm not that experienced. So yeah, that's important. Guys, any more ideas how to what to look for? I mean, like, because before we heard that if you're not participating, be a judge or be a chief judge. So that's a nice approach, but it might not work pretty well sometimes. So Federico.
I have other idea that can complement the one from Bogdan, and is not only to ask for a favor, but when you have someone that is not experienced, we always speak about delegate, but we often relegate. That is the bigger mistakes that we perform, because most of people don't know the difference. When you delegate, you support the person, you monitor the things. But when you relegate, it's like, okay, you are going to do this and I banish. So when you are supporting someone, and for example, someone is inexperienced, you can support and give some hints, some ideas, be there, not disappear, like banish. Remember that delegation and relegation are different, and we constantly just mix them.
Cool, thanks. Any other questions or ideas how to approach the right people?
Can I just add something else? Sorry.
Sure.
We had some like after each contest, what we are trying to do in our club, have a retrospective. So basically take all the people involved, the contestants, people that took roles, and try to see what went well and what would improve. And after the last retrospective, we decided that next time when we organize a contest, we will have a person which is a contest organizer or manager. Basically is not the contest chair, is not the chief judge, but is a person which is overlook the contest. And if there are some changes, they're going to that person. So there is only one person which know if there is a cancellation for something, or so if somebody wanted to have a question, it's go to that person. Not necessarily that person might not know the answer, but would be able to point out to the right direction. So having another person which will take a role as helping, that is also much easier to find a contest chair saying, look, we have somebody which is managing this, so we'll be able to offer you some support.
Wow, like a big brother who is watching you. Very cool. But it's not against the rules, right? Because on the rule book it said that the contest chair is responsible for everything.
Yes, but what if the contest chair is canceling the last moment? Who's taking
that's the backup. That is the backup.
But who's organizing the backup? So that way you need to have one person which is doing, because in that moment, this is actually what it happened in our club, that the day before the contest chair canceled. So we know how we prevent these things from happening again, because that person didn't let us know in advance. So if we would have somebody dedicated for this, we would find out earlier and we'll avoid some stress.
So meaning that you do not put this to the Vice President of Education, because in my Moscow club, the Vice President of Education is responsible for finding the chief judges and the contest chair, but it's the third person, like the contest supervisor or something.
It can be, but the Vice President for Education might take part in the contest. So then you wanted to avoid these things, like this conflict of interest.
So there's another secret role. Right, so it's not in the rule book, but it's there.
No, is more as let's say that is somebody which have a bit more experience, and somebody which can offer some support. So it's not that is we is against the rule. It's just you can have somebody to.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. How do you motivate this person? I mean, like he's in charge of everything, literally. Like if something goes wrong, he's in charge. He's responsible. How do you motivate this person?
As I said, try to find somebody which will gain something from that, from organizing. So you know, if you know people, you know also what they're doing in professional life, and trying to sell it is like, look, that will help you to do that, and also, as I said earlier, you can ask for a favor.
And flowers.
And also something which we did in which we are doing in our area, because we are quite we are trying to help each other. So we are, for example, doing, look, I'm taking this role in your contest, but I need somebody to take this role in our contest. So, you know, doing favor exchanges, because also if you go to somebody and ask for a favor, that person, you have to be aware that person might come and ask for a favor in exchange, and you have to be prepared to say yes.
Good. Thanks. So I guess we're done with the second part, definitely. Do we have any questions so far? I see some interesting things in the chat, but I will transfer this to my people in Moscow. Ela.
Yes, I would like to ask the question that might sound rhetorical. However, I still hear this kind of question or discussion about this topic. So why is it really so important to check every year the new manual? I had heard even some rumors that there are the manuals that were translated to other languages than English, and they are still used with the rules that were used this few years ago. Is it really, from your perspective, so important, even if it's a rhetorical question, to check the rules every year when the manual is changing and there are some adjustments? And I would ask maybe Rafał, I saw your presentation with all the rules. So could you share your thoughts about it?
Yeah, first of all, there are always dots in each rule book which show in which point there were changes. So if you know the previous year book, you don't even need to read the whole new rule book, which is much easier. But I still think it's worth to read everything again just to check if we remember everything properly, because it's about the curve of knowledge. We forget 90% of our stuff in a few weeks. So even though you organized a contest a year ago, you probably still forget a lot about it. So it's good just to remember again what you need to do. It's like a checklist. Or the procedure, you still check the procedure in work, and if you don't, you often you often misdo something because you're overconfident about what you're doing. So that's one point why it's important. The second one, it's important to know what are the changes, because if you advance in the next level, then the people will definitely read the manual, and you may do something which is against the manual, and you may be kicked out of the contest, which is much better to know what you need to do before you join the contest. So I think it's the second point. And the third point, especially for people who are starting, because I saw a lot of times that people who start don't read the damn manual. And if you will read the damn manual, it will help you to know what are the rules of the contest and also how the judges check and vote for you. And I recommend all my mentees, if they participate, just check what are the requirements for the contest, because then you have higher chance to win. So I think 3 quite good points. I hope that somebody else has something more to add.
Anything to add? I would say, yeah, that would be good to know the rules, because someone can write to the headquarters and that would not be that nice. There is one question in the list that we have about the tricks and tips and secrets and other things like that. What were the most surprising situations you faced organizing or better say during the contest, something that I didn't expect it, but that worked out really well. Some probably great questions from the contest chairs at Table Topics, or some interesting prizes like, the knife or the painkillers, as Stashik has mentioned. Something to share so other people can take this and use this. Anything to share? Guys, you're here? Monica?
Yes, I'm here, but I don't have nothing to add in this area. But I have an idea to be more eco-friendly and don't print so much papers. It's my idea.
So how do the judges put their points? Like on a mobile application or something?
I'm not thinking about ballots exactly, but about all this paper we should prepare before the contest. So maybe we can do it by digital mode or something different way than we do now.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any templates to share?
Templates we have, but we should print it.
So how do we transfer them to the? Okay, Bogdan has the answer to this question.
Actually, I had the suggestion from Monica that, for example, there is a form, I forgot the name, when you add the points for when you read the ballots, and you have to put the points, and then you
counter tally sheet.
Yes, and that one you can use a spreadsheet, and you don't have to print it, and you avoid mistakes.
But what if something goes wrong and you have to show this to people? I mean, like that's or you never have to show it to people.
I to be honest, I still have the ballots from the contest.
Oh my God! You have to destroy them and burn them and eat them. No?
Because I kept them till everything was clear with the contest. Because if somebody will ask me why that happened, I can actually prove it that I did, and I also double check and all these things. But if you have to show that, then you can show the spreadsheet. You can print it later on. But this way you avoid printing one paper, and actually one paper per contest. And of course, I would encourage to have a backup, that in case that your computer is not working, you should have somehow to be able to print it in the last moment. So again, think about backup.
Oh my God, I think you should change the surname Bogdan Backup. Okay, Rafał had something to add, right? You were raising your hand.
Yeah, I said it on our DECM, but I think it's very important that there are some moments which are too long and you should remember about them. And one of those is when their ballots are counted, and then it's a moment when you can present to the speakers the participation diploma. Or if you want to save the environment, don't make this diploma, because after the contest, probably all the people will just put it in the shelf and forget about it.
What about the nice picture with the diploma?
But it's theoretically for the nice picture, so that's why I still printed them. But it's the moment when you can save some time. Second, if you have separate room where the ballots can be counted, you can make break instead of prolonging the time. So it's about the environment that you have, if you could do it or no. Third thing, typically the moment of interviews are boring, especially if you ask the same question all over again. What's your motto? What inspires you? What's your biggest achievement? So the all stuff from the bio. So instead of reading the bio, you can think about more creative or something. For example, at last area contest, because we needed to wait longer, we started to make improvisation games and engage the public, which was fun and energetic. And you could think about something like this. for the break or moments of the ballot counting, so the people will feel better. And it's very good trick how you can rescue the atmosphere for
Rescue.
yeah, because
I think
sometimes the energy then is very low.
okay, could be. Ola, did you have a question? You were raising your hand.
No, I didn't have a question. I wanted to refer, first of all, sorry for being late. And I think that what Monica meant was all the eligibility sheets, I guess, because we have to gather them before the contest, and it's a lot of papers, actually. Right? Is that what you meant, Monica? Oh, I don't know. She doesn't reply.
Yes,
but...
yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So
it
I
was
think
eligibility forms and these kind of papers.
yeah, exactly. So, and if you have, for example, in the club level, you've got 4 contests, right? Polish and English ones, for example, and speeches and table topics as well. Then you've got a lot of paper for each participant. But I think that you might solve it asking the participants to send it via email earlier, or ask them to print it themselves and bring it with them. And that might be easier. And then you don't have so much work. Maybe that would be some solution for that. And if it comes to what Rafał said about these contests for the audience or some improvisation games, yeah, I did participate in 2 conferences like this, 2 contests like this, and during counting the votes, there were some table topics, I guess. That's how we could how we could call it. And yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, that's a good idea, because listening to the answers of contestants sometimes might be a little bit boring and a little bit tiring, I think, for them as well. So such things would be something energetic. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing, Ola. You have been an organizer or a contest chair or a chief judge. What was the role that you took?
Yeah, I've already been chief contest chair, and I had also a role that Bogdan mentioned, contest manager, I would say.
The big sister.
Yes, exactly. Which was exactly as you said. It was a huge responsibility, because I had to take care of contest chair and the chief judge as well. But luckily, Bogdan was my chief judge then, so it was way easier then. So yeah.
Thanks. Great. I'm not sure if we have more questions. Ela, could you please double check? So I would probably have one last, or maybe the last, but one question about some really creative prizes, because that's great that we take part as Toastmasters, getting better speakers and better leaders. But it's always great when the contest has some zest. As Staszek has mentioned in the beginning, something special, something peculiar, something that people expect, that something like will pop up at the end and like will cheer up everyone. So probably you might want to share some experiences of great recognitions, so that we can just steal those ideas. I would share mine. They're not mine actually, but I remember we were awarding people with really cool books, some really nice certificates and board games, especially at table topics contests, because there were some board games with questions, spontaneous things. So people just not only got their certificates and the ribbons to take a picture with, but they also got something to share, to remember, to play with. So can you share, asking everyone if you have ever been at the contest or organizing, what were the best experiences of the recognitions and prizes that you have witnessed? Feel free to raise your hands. I guess people are thinking. Staszek, not about the knife?
Yeah, I remember from, I think it was 2015 contest on district level, when on the final, the contest chair came as a clown.
That was K.S. Bros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember him in
You
Prague.
were there?
Yeah, I was there.
You saw the photo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's pity that we didn't meet then. And for this humorous and table topic, because they are more entertaining, I think it could be fun to do something like this. About the warming up the audience, you can also think about some, for example, the massage. You know, there are these tricks that, okay, now turn left and start the massage, the person on the left and then on the right, and the people then will be more energetic and feel better about themselves. You can do some networking session at the beginning or before the contest, so especially like area or this division level, where then, okay, now there's 10 minutes and you need to find out other people who are for the same time in Toastmaster, for example.
Oh, very good. So, and this interaction with the audience, how much time it should take? Because you don't have that much time as a contest chair to spend on those stuff, like a minute or two, or what?
It should be a few minutes, and especially if there is like a few minutes before the contest. So, for example, you start at 7 p.m. and like 8:50, okay, we are already here, and we'll make some exercise, so you will feel better. And you can start on time, but say that you will do something before being on time, because normally most of the people are already there. You need probably some time to organize everything. The chief judge will take care, but the contest chair can already do something for them. And I think
that's cool.
I think it would work really, really well. Also, I remember that for photo session, when you just try to make the photo funny and like not only here is with me and my diploma, but when you're starting to make fun, different poses. I remember when I had long hair and on one contest I spread around my hairs and
I wish I could do this now.
And it started to be fun. Everybody was laughing about it. So it's especially good if the speakers do something like this, because it's more natural, but you can think about this small element after the contest when you can make some laughing, repeat some jokes, which already was quite good. Mention about the after party after
the contest, so that everyone gets painkillers.
Or started to getting drunk at the or no, don't forget it.
Okay, anything else to share? Thanks, Dashik. And any other really nice tips that we can steal from you and use?
Yeah, I can see that Dovila is raising her hand, so can you share with us?
Yes, hello everybody. So now I will just sharing my screen. Myself. Hello everybody, Dovila from Lithuania. So last time when we had contest, I was contest master, and because I'm not funny, and that was humorous speech contest. So what I used some of the tricks that warmed up a bit of auditorium. So one of the things was that we stood up and I said, now turn to your left. And everybody were smiling because they kind of knew what will happen, and Rafael just mentioned it. And I said, do you know what will happen? And everybody said yeah, like massage. And I said, no. So please take your neighbor's ears, these parts, and touch it like this, to have massage for your ears. Everybody like crazy start laughing, and they actually, because they got kind of awkward moment, but everybody was doing that, so it was very comfortable for everybody. Everybody felt way more, I don't know, cozy with all the neighbors. Another thing what happened during that contest, that we had SpongeBob. So in our contest photo, you can also see SpongeBob SquarePants, huge human size SpongeBob SquarePants. So actually, animator.
Sorry, that was the club or area or division contest with the SpongeBob?
In that exactly contest, it was club.
Oh my God! So it was like a trophy for the winner? No.
It was human being SpongeBob. I mean, literally animator, like person dressed up as a SpongeBob SquarePants.
And dancing. Goodness.
Yeah, and also we did some dancing. So we had a Chocolata song, and everybody were doing chocolate. So like people really start laughing a lot, and it was just a dance, short
Wow.
dance for 1.5 minutes. The photo with the SpongeBob, it was just a kind of accessory. It gave a lot of boost of energy, and that thing with ears, with all the speaking, everything included, not more than 2 minutes. I mean, with all the speaking, because touching it was one side, another side, so it was like 30 seconds or 15 seconds each.
Great. Thanks for the tip. Anyone else to share something weird? SpongeBob or Superman or something else? Just to share.
I remember the meeting. It was not the contest, but it could work as well. When my friends stood up as Winnie the Pooh and other cartoon characters, so you can try it. And for recognition, also Ela did it right now, and she ordered wooden medals instead of normal medals. And I remember that all the participants simply loved them. And I also make them for the Polish Championship, and it was like, wow, it's something different. So again, making something different, and like with the ears, it's simply fantastic. I need to think about it.
Great, thanks. So any more questions, because we're almost out of time. So any other questions about contests, rules, or how to start, or how to finish, how to protest, or anything? Feel free to ask, because we will be wrapping up pretty much soon.
Yeah. So it's Ela from this side. I would like to add one question and one side, one thing. For all our experts, the question: if you could share like one moment with 2 or 3 sentences, the best moment that you experienced during the contest, like in the end, having, I don't know, the great satisfaction or something that you remind yourself every time. Starting maybe from Monica this time. So the best experience that you remember from the contests.
The winning experience, probably.
Yes, the one that is like motivating you. Okay, the chief judge left in the last time, but still I remember this moment that we were giving something like Staszek mentioned about this wooden medals, and thank you, Rafa, for this inspiration also about that. So any idea about that, like 2-3 sentences, like Valeria said, that we are a bit going to finishing.
For me, satisfying is all things, all well done jobs. For example, I remember once I was in Warsaw, and I remember I won the contest. So as a participant, I have a very well and nice experience from well-organized contests as a participant, not an organizer, because more times I'm an organizer, but I'm thinking about a point of view of participants. So I think it's from my side.
Federico, Bogdan? Anything really strong to remember, something that, you know, like stamped in the brains?
I have a memory which I think I will remember all my life now. So when I was a chief judge, and the moment when we announced the winner of the last contest, and we give the awards, and I could see that everybody was smiling. That was the peak of you know, like, that was the best reward, because I was paying attention all the contest till they announced the last one, to make sure that everybody is happy, and you know that there are no like people are sad or they think that we didn't treat them equal, because that was my main criteria, to make sure that everybody had equal chances. So the last moment when I saw that that everybody smiled, then I could also smile, and I think I'll remember all my life the three winners and how they were staying and everything, how it was the background, because that was, I think, the best reward which I had.
Wow, very motivating and positive. Oh, I see Kalin Galea in this chat. Kalin, are you here? I remember you being a chief judge at the district conference, if I'm not mistaken. Can you share some really nice memories or experiences with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're here.
Yeah, sure.
I don't remember exactly when I was. I think I was judge at district level.
And in Prague, you asked me to be a judge. I remember that really clearly.
I think it was a semi-final, but not clearly. It was not a final.
Well, still whatever. That was a district level.
Yeah. Exactly. What do you want me to mention about that part?
Anything you would like to share? Now we're talking about some really cool memories or maybe some interesting tricks that you used.
Yeah. I remember in Prague at the district conference, I think that Dirk Bruckner was chief judge. And what I liked very much was the judges briefing. There was one judge for each division, and if I remember well, there were 12 divisions in the district 95, former district 95, and the briefing was organized professionally with everything, everything in order, with forms, with everything he said. And at the semi-final level, I don't know, as a chief judge, I was very satisfied with the result of the contest. And I think that if you are a chief judge and you have a feeling that the first, the second, and the third places are selected exactly or more or less as you would have imagined, and people are satisfied, then you can say that the judges were, I don't know, the process of establishing first and second and third places had a good quality.
So that's the measurement, right? So the way you expect, the way you expect the winners to be placed based on what you hear and how the judges place them, actually, I would say, prove that you made the wise choice selecting the judges. Is that what you meant?
In a way, yes. Of course, everyone is subjective. We are not 100% objective.
Yeah.
But if your opinion about who gets the first, the second, and the third place is more or less the same as your judges have decided, then I think that there is a good chance that the quality of the judging process is very high. So.
Yeah, that could be a good point. And I also really loved the idea of Bogdan to have the follow-up meeting afterwards with the whole team to wrap it up and to see what was wrong, what was great, and how we should proceed. So yeah, that's something that we have never had here in Moscow, and probably we should actually introduce this. So we just hold the contest, and yeah, we just forget about it. Thanks God it's over. But actually, it's not. So sometimes you have to follow up with this and find out the best practices. That's something that we should not forget about. Okay.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
I remember that I made a mistake. Now I remember when I spoke with you to be a JAV in the semifinal, and I didn't calibrate the relationship. And as a matter of fact, I realized that you were already a very experienced Toastmaster, and I started to say some basic things about judging, and you stopped me, and I would like to thank you for it.
Oh, that's okay. Just forget about it. Thanks. Yes. So guys, do you have any more questions? Any more anything to add
Yeah, I want to add, and I want to say to Kalin that exactly like always in Poland, after in Polish championship, is like when the person who people think should win, it's like the whole conference is good. If not, everybody is complaining. So it's really very, very important. I remember one mistake that I feel a lot when I was a speaker. When at division conference, I go to the toilet and the contest chair didn't check at the beginning if every person is on this in the room, and started the contest when I was away from the room, and I was the first speaker. And when I entered the room, he said, now it's your time, and just left the stage. And I had some visual aids that I needed to take from the backpack and come back to the stage. So it was like completely fucked up contest, but I didn't care so much about that one. And about the tricks, it come back to me that when I was a contest chair of Polish championship in humorous and table topic, I recreated one famous Polish comedy scene when a person is walking with a long stick, like on the train road. Sorry, I forget the road.
The rails?
Yeah, the rails. And everybody was laughing because of it. So you can think about this kind of recreation. And it was like just one visual aid. I said a sentence like 30 seconds, something like, I hate Mondays, but thankfully today is Friday and will be for 3 days and the conference with great fun, and everybody loved it. And I remember that a lot of people after the contest just said that was fantastic contest, the table topic was great, you were so confident, and we love what you done. And I think it was really, really great, and something to interesting at the beginning will make the contest great and people will feel the atmosphere.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you act like a robot, like speaker number 1, speaker number 2, thank you, minute for judges, that's pretty dull, and people just don't empathize. I mean, like they don't feel connected to you. When you are a person and when you personalize something and you make them feel like they are appreciated and they are valued, that's really great. And it's not happening that often, as I wished it would. Okay, so if we have no more questions, I think that is probably the right time to wrap up, since we have 3 minutes to finish the webinar. And I would pass the floor to Elżbieta once again, since she was the engine of the whole thing. So Ela, could you please wrap it up?
Sure. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Of course, I'm still here, and I had so many questions, but in the meantime, you're giving the answers for all of them. I didn't want to interrupt you also with all of them. Like I did the district training, right, Rafa? So thank you very much. I'm very happy that we had the chance to meet. Thank you for, of course, sharing all the tips and tricks, and very important thing, the rules also, because then the contest is just not valid. However, I'm really amazed also about your experiences and some good memories that you have. I'm sure that these are the right points to keep with yourself. I believe that this is also another opportunity for us to share and also to underline how important it is to share experiences and some ideas from the past. And another example that really in Toastmasters, we have many great people that would like to share, participate, and support each other. So thank you very much for that. As we are saying also in district that we are stronger together. So that's really good and great example and experience for that. Thank you very much. And we cannot finish, let me prepare only the camera, without one thing. And big applause for everyone. Of course, we cannot do it. Sorry for the camera. We cannot do it in Toastmasters without the big applause at the end, right? So big applause, and
Hey, thanks.
and of course, enjoy your evening. It was really great experience. I'm hoping that we'll still have another chance to share different experiences next time. Great.
Thank you, Ela. Thank you, everyone who took part. Thank you, Bogdan. Thanks, Federico. Thanks, Staszek. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, everyone who asked questions and shared his experiences. And we'll have the recording available pretty soon. So if you want to share this with your peers, your officers, your fellow club members, or someone who would ask a favor for, like, being a chief judge or a contest chair, feel free to share the link to the webinar. Thank you once again, and have a great Friday and a great weekend. And thanks, Elżbieta, for initializing the whole thing.
Yeah, greetings from Wrocław for some kind of parking in front of McDonald's. Greetings.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.